Thanks for stopping by the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the real of reality TV.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feel so.
Oh my gosh. What is up, guys? Listen, I'm so busy, but I decided to go ahead and record and talk about this because I just heard some breaking news on the Michelle ATLian Brown YouTube channel about Porsha suing Simon for upwards of close to $700K for contempt of court, and she wants him locked up. This divorce drama between Porsha and Simon, it is continuous because this is what happens when you have two people that got into a situation, not even a relationship, for all the wrong purposes and reasons. It didn't last long, and the fallout is going to last so much longer than the so-called relationship ever did. So she officially filed a motion for contempt of court, demanding that Simon be jailed until he pays up the funds she says he still owes. So we're asking, like, all the people who were saying, oh, Portia won, she's winning, this and that and the other. And I was not here to celebrate for either one of these people. But I was saying, how in the world is she going to make this man give her money when he is no longer a resident of this country and he was not even a citizen? And a lot of people feel like she played a part in him being detained in ICE custody and being deported. So with the unpaid funds and these court filings, all of these accusations flying, I didn't talk about this recently, but I saw this clip on Instagram of some chick saying that Simon is a scammer. And a lot of people in the comment section was like, how much did Portia pay this girl to come out and say this? I swear, because it's like, first of all, Simon isn't here anymore. So if he scammed you out of money and he didn't get you any money, then girl, you lost. Okay. So we don't really want to hear about how he scammed you out of money. But this is so messy. I mean, it's making Kenya's situation with Mark look like a walk in the park. And even though that was something that she jumped into pretty quickly, I really feel like with that situation, she just really wanted a child for the most part. I'm not saying she didn't really want a relationship. I believe she was hopeful that she can make that work too, but she would have just been better off getting this freaking sperm donor. But I guess she was so insulted by the read that that Phaedra gave her in that epic reunion clip of her saying that her child's father, at the time she was not pregnant, didn't have a baby, but her child's father would be someone that needed $12 for a medium-sized pizza. So he ejaculated into a cup so that she could have a child. Now check that. I'm just saying. So I guess she was like, I can't go that route because I refuse to let her and anybody else that agreed with her feel like they were right. So I'm going to do it the old fashioned way. And then she wound up getting dog walked through the courts and in the social media streets because of how ridiculous he made her look. But with that being said, I'm saying that it's making Kenya's situation look pretty sane and simple because this is just so freaking messy. I'm going to share some of the video with you guys. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and then we're going to go ahead and get into this. Oh my God, it's just a trip. When I heard this, I said, oh my God, I need to take a break and come and talk about this with you guys and see what you have to say about it. Because for all those people who were saying, Portia won, she's going to get her coins, she's going to get everything that the prenup says she's entitled to get. And I was saying, how? How are they going to force him? Like, does the United States have extradition laws with Nigeria? and Dubai and wherever else he frequents to bring him here and lock him up until she gets her money. Do you know like what this really looks like? Let's just go ahead and get into the video, guys, because I'm like, whoa.
The breaking news of today is that Porsha Williams has officially sued Simon Guobadia for she's trying to hold him in contempt of court. Okay, she's filed it in the Fulton County Superior Court and is dated August 26, 2025. What day was that? What's today? Today is the 28th, 27th, Tuesday. That was Tuesday. Okay, according to those court documents, Porsha is accusing Simon of willfully refusing to comply with the terms of their prenuptial agreement and the final judgment of the divorce. Now, you remember we talked about it. The divorce was final. When was it? In June? Let me make sure I got the exact date. The divorce was finalized July 11th. Okay, and the judge actually decided to enforce the terms of the prenup. Since that time, Simon has also filed an appeal. Okay, he's appealing the judge's decision. He said they made several different errors when they granted Porsha all of those terms, and he said in his appeal that the judge basically changed the terms of the prenup in the final order. Now, we went through all of those, and I'm not going to go through that, but what I am going to go through is Porsha's now contempt filing that was filed after the divorce was finalized.
So I want to pause it for a moment. And I don't know all of the details, but I believe, I'm just saying this is what I believe. He's filed an appeal. So if he's filed an appeal, I don't believe that he can be found in contempt of not abiding by it if he's filed an appeal, because I believe that would keep things in place just as if it did not get ruled upon yet, as if there was no judgment in the first place. I believe, but again, I could be wrong. In this situation, I know that there are different rules for different types of situations, but it's not like this is a child support situation. I don't know. And the thing about it is that it really aggravates me about this situation. Porsha acts as if this man is the father of her child and that he owes all of this money for a child that they had together. They didn't even have any children together. They were in a marriage for 15 months. She is going through all of these hoops and hurdles to get money from this man instead of she would rather, like that cover of that People magazine, burn everything down for the sake of getting this money that it's not going to last, because when you don't do things the right way in the first place, it won't end the right way. So even if it seems like you're winning in the interim, ultimately it's not going to work out, because it's just like Nene Leak said years ago, you never win when you're dirty. And I ain't saying Simon is clean, but I still don't believe that he deserved to be treated in this way. And that's why I'm talking about this, because it's like he said, I was willing to give her everything save the house. Just leave the house. That is the house that I bought. Yes, with the intentions of us living together with our family. But why is it okay for her, for Sha, for Porsha to kick me out of the house? I cannot be there with my children. I have other children. I don't have any children with her. I can't enjoy my home with my children. She wants to keep the house for herself and her family and her child. And then she tried to use her daughter by trying to make me feel some type of way by texting me to say that PJ asked about you. But he was like, when I reached out to her prior, she would not respond to me. And Michelle ATL Brown said she saw the screenshots of the text messages, and I believe Tasha K said she saw them too. So with that being said, she's going through all these hoops and hurdles to get this house, to get this money. You didn't care about that man. And Simon said, all of the previous wives I've had, I take care of them. But the way she went about things, I feel like Porsha felt like she was the prize and she was more special than everyone else. So it's not going to work out for her ultimately, but let's just continue.
Now, it's a big deal because Porsha isn't just asking for the court to enforce the prenup, isn't just asking to stay in the house when she already sitting there. Okay, she is demanding that they enforce it. In addition to Porsha demanding that they enforce the prenup, she's also alleging that she wants to put him in jail. Honey, how's she gonna lock him up and he even got deported? He'd already been locked up. Now, this, when I read that in the court documents, it gave me
Y'all keep saying Porsha didn't call the ICE. Okay, y'all keep saying that Porsha did not report that man. Y'all keep saying that Simon being detained for 40 days, 40 nights, 3 months, however long it was in ICE before he was deported was just, a paperwork error. Y'all keep saying all that, but I keep telling y'all it's the powers that be. And let me shut up because I don't want them coming over here to drag my ass out of my chateau. Anyway, I'm digressing now. Porsha, what she wanted or what she was granted in the divorce was again $40,000 a month for 14 months, which was $560,000. Okay. She claimed that Simon was already at least $80,000 in arrears. So she added that on to it. So that, comes up to the total that I put in the thing. I think it was like 660 something thousand dollars. Anyway, there's also, she wanted him to get a life insurance policy. Now, this man got kids.
That is the part that disgusted me above a lot of the stuff. When I heard that she wanted him to get a life insurance policy for her to be the beneficiary, it's like, Heffa, you were only married to him for 15 months. You had no children with him. Why is that like you that to me is like the epitome of a gold digger. You really just only wanted this man for money. And clearly we knew this. We knew this. This is not a shock or a surprise. It's definitely not breaking news. Breaking news. Portia Williams only was with Simon Gobadia for what he had and what she could benefit from being with him. Now, of course, it's not breaking news. But the ridiculousness of her to believe she is entitled to profit off of his death. Once he no longer is living, she wants to get a payout from a life insurance company on his life. Do you know how disgusting that sounds? That to me, I talked about this before. That to me is disgusting.
Lots of kids, okay? And this woman who didn't have any kids from him, who was married for 14 months, is saying that she wants a life insurance policy on him so that if anything happens to him, she will get her money come hell or high water. And I'm like, OMG, not a life insurance policy on a man that's been deported to Nigeria and now he's in Dubai. You want to make sure that he don't even leave this earth until she get the money. And I'm like, damn, this is diabolical. Okay, now let me finish. Now, of course, the marital residence, remember, she's living in the marital residence, and we've been reporting that since that time, she has put her home in Duluth on the market, right? And people were speculating, and I am people is me, that she was perhaps doing that so that she would have, a liquid cash flow so that she could put towards the $7 million house that she wants to keep so desperately. Now, there's some other things in the prenup that was stating that she could stay there for 36 months. And then after the 36 months, she either has to sell it and split the proceeds with Simon Guobadia, or she has to refinance it into her name. Now, it's interesting because Porsha says she's already spent at least $362,000 covering the mortgage and taxes and everything else. And I'm like, okay, that's what she put in this new document. So it seems like you done spent all this money on that house over there, and you can't finish the basement on the house over here. So apparently she can't afford to keep up appearances over at the mansion. Okay, I'm just reading what Porsha's attorney wrote in the documents. Okay, now in addition to all of that, she doesn't want, let me see, no quick claim deed has been signed and no trust transfer. Hold on. Then the Rolls Royce ghost. Let's talk about this Rolls Royce for a minute. Okay, remember, we was joking about it because, allegedly, I ain't seen them people bank statements, but Simon was not paying for their Rolls Royce no more. He don't live here no more. He said he ain't paying no car note. He ain't paying nothing. She want it. She got it. She can afford it. She gonna buy it. Okay. So apparently, the Rolls Royce, the note hasn't been paid. Okay. There's still a note on it, and she wants to be awarded it free and clear, okay? But there's still a note on it, and the note has not been satisfied. I believe it's like $60,000 still owed on the Rolls Royce. Now, of course, remember the attorney's fees. She's also asking for that $224,883.60. Now, the gag is what we reported a few weeks ago is that Randy Kessler had put his attorney's lien onto the house as well. Okay, because the house was in Simon's name. So he put a lien on the house in order to secure his attorney's fees. After that, a day before the judgment was issued, Simon's attorney put her lien on the house in order to get paid her attorney's fees. And apparently, since that time, it's been discovered that according to the prenup, all of those monies that have been attached to the house of the lien will come out of the total amount after it's sold. And once the Lord, I'm talking too fast. Once the monies are split, okay, it's split minus all of those fees. So again, it's eating up Portia's part of the equity. Okay.
And that's what I said before too. It's like all these people thinking that she's just going to get all of this money once the house is sold. All of these expenses, what is owed to the bank, the liens, everything, all of that stuff has to be paid first before any equity is seen. And then Simon gets his 50%. And I feel like he was just pretty much saying, because some people say, well, he was being dirty by doing it, but I could also understand his side of it too, because it's like it wasn't like you were going to stay in that house unless you could afford to keep it for yourself. You were going to sell it to get the money. So it's not like you're going to stay in the house for the next 20 years. Since you're going to sell it anyway, just go ahead and get it up on the market, because he said, I don't really know anybody that's rushing to buy a $7 million home. So that is a home that's going to take time to sell. It's going to take some time. So with that being said, go ahead and put the house up on the market, and then you can get all the money that you were awarded in this judgment. I feel like that's how he was pretty much putting it. And yeah, some slick sly stuff too, because he's also suing her for defamation and whatever, and he is filing the case. Uh, well, he's filing an appeal against her in this divorce case, but also because you're going to sell the house, go ahead and get your money that way. But she's so vain, so selfish, so self-centered, so spoiled, such the entitlement is unreal. And you know, when I talk about topics like her, Meghan Markle, other people that are like in the same category of like complaining about things when your life is pretty much really good in comparison to a whole lot of people, because a lot of people are going through it. A lot of people are struggling. I really could give a crap about your complaints and your so-called struggles, because a lot of the struggles that you have, they're self-inflicted. All right? Her issues are self-inflicted. I don't have any sympathy for her whatsoever. I'm not wishing for her demise or anything like that. But like Nene Leak said, you never win when you're dirty. So them celebrating her on this People magazine cover, which is probably a part of her deal that she made with Bravo. I don't know why they felt like she is this grandiose star that they wanted to put all of this money behind. But I really feel like ultimately in the end, they're going to see that the investment that they made, it really wasn't worth it. And I am just sitting here like, what's going to happen next? I ain't celebrating it. I'm not giving applause, a standing ovation to it, but I'm saying I'm not shocked. I'm really not surprised. And now she wants this dude jailed who is no longer a resident of this country. It's like, girl, are you really serious? And I know most of the time that's just the language that are in these contempt orders, the motions that are filed. Normally, even in child support situations, it's in there. I never really understand that though, because it's like if the person hasn't paid, and I get it, you're like, okay, well, we're going to put this person in jail as a punishment or whatever. But if it's for money that they owe, how is locking them up going to help these people to get the money any sooner? I never understood that. And I'm not talking about people who were just going through just passing out sperm, making all these babies and know that they can't take care of their kids or whatever, but also, there's responsibility that needs to be bore on all parties involved. But what I'm saying is there have been so many situations in court where these motions are filed and that language is already in there for the people to be detained and locked up. So I'm not even saying that that is her language saying, I want him, I want him arrested. I don't know if you know where that comes from. If you watch the Real Housewives of New Jersey season 2, when Danielle Staub was going at it with Jacqueline, and her daughter pulled her extensions, and she's saying how she wanted her daughter to get arrested or whatever. I don't know why that just came up to my mind, but either way, I'm not saying that Porsha's just like, I want Simon in jail. I do believe that's language that's already put in these motions, but yet and still, it's ridiculous too that that wasn't edited, because he's not in this country. Are you really serious right now? So for all those people who said he's got assets in this country, they can seize his assets to get her the money. I had people saying that in my comment section. Well, if that's the case, why haven't they done that? Why is she suing for contempt of court to compel the courts to try to lock him up because she hasn't gotten the money? I feel like she is just so hell bent on trying to score a win in the public instead of just trying to seek peace, and for the sake of peace live a quiet life. Okay, still do your stuff on Real Housewives of Atlanta, but all of this stuff is making so much noise where it's really just making her look like the gold digger that she is. And so all the stuff that people were saying about, well, she went through such a tumultuous situation in her first marriage. She just wanted to make sure that she would be secured in this situation. So she was looking out for herself and protecting herself. No, she's always been this. She's just grown into a greater version of what she used to be. And Cordell was smart in covering and protecting himself where she wasn't able to get anything, even though some of the moves he made may have been heartless and cruel. But again, I wasn't in the household, so I don't really know everything that went on and was experienced and he experienced. And two, yeah, it looks like initially it looks like Simon lost and Porsha won, but right now it's definitely looking like Porsha's taking the L again, just this time on a greater level. So I want to know what you guys think about all this because this is absolutely crazy. And I just had to come on here and just go ahead and talk about this real quick. And I want to know what you think.
Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.